Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. Hey, Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, is grappling with a dilapidating crisis that threatens to undermine its very foundation. Beyond the headlines of course, Boko Haram insurgency, banditry, economic stagnation, lies a more insidious challenge: the deliberate exploitation of poverty and ignorance. This phenomenon aptly described rather as weaponized poverty and ignorance, has become a potent tool for manipulating the masses, undermining national cohesion, and entrenching the interest of a privileged few. It's a beautiful episode, the final one for the week, on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name remains Osayiwa Mesale. Today, I want to delve into the topic, Nigeria and the impact of weaponized poverty and ignorance, right? What's the impact of weaponized poverty and ignorance on Nigeria? Now, remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why and what are you saying? So be a part of the conversation every single day. Add your voice to the discussion. You can also head on to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your families and friends to join the show right now. When I open the phone lines, I would really love to hear your thoughts on this topic, right? As always, let me allow you to ponder on my quote for today. It says, "As long as poverty, injustice, and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest." And that was a quote by Nelson Mandela. So we'll delve into the topic much later, but first, let me run off on a break. I have so many news interests, to share today. Stay with me. All right, thanks for staying tuned. So let me quickly start off the conversation, giving an update in River State. I don't know how many of us saw the news, but yeah, the River State Assembly adjourns sitting indefinitely. They had called on the governor to present his, the budget for the year, and, all the drama that happened. But now they've gone on an indefinite leave. So we don't know what's going to happen to River State. How would civil servants be paid? How would the state be governed? What is going to go on? We don't know. So the River State Assembly had adjourned its sitting indefinitely. The decision to adjourn legislative duties indefinitely was reached during plenary presided over by the Speaker Martins in Port Harcourt on today. Now, the development comes hours after the state governor, Simlaye Fubara, wrote to the Speaker informing him of his intention to visit the House to present the 2025 appropriation bill for consideration and approval. The governor, in a letter dated 13th of March, an address to the Speaker, Martin, said he intends to present the budget on Wednesday, 19th of March, or any other day within March that the House may deem fit. So now your Speaker has gone, on leave. I don't know what is going on, but I still feel like all of these things is just an ego thing, and in the end, guess who is suffering? The people of Rivers State. Well, let's see how it plays out, which is a developing story. We'll just keep following it. INEC compensates, what's the word now? They compensate Bauchi election accident victims with 1.25 million naira. So the independent National Electoral Commission had handed over a compensation package to a casualty of the 2023 election accident in Bauchi. This was disclosed in a statement posted on the official Facebook handle of INEC Bauchi on Thursday. According to the statement, the INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu, handed over the compensation during the Commission's weekly management meeting held on Thursday. He was, of course, represented by the Electoral Commission, Resident Electoral Commission, Yakubu. Yeah, that was the person that represented him. They presented the check of the sum that I had mentioned earlier as insurance cover to a coalition officer, Adamu Yusuf of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. This is interesting. You know that there were many casualties during the 2023 elections, right? So if this is the only person that they are picking to compensate, well, we'll see how it goes. I just thought to mention that. At least you're admitting that some casualties happened, Abi. Premium Times reports that I'm ready to work with Obi, and this is also same Bauchi State. We will make sure that we come together, close ranks, bring good governance to the country, give vibrant opposition with knowledge, timelines, visions in such a manner that we will rescue and recover our country. It's easier said than done. So our coming together is a message, and the message is going to resonate because all our colleagues, the PDP governors, are behind this kind of journey because it is a transcendental one. We are coming together to work together irrespective of party, region, religion, or any other thing. And this was said by the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Mohammed. Recent times, we've seen a lot of cross-carpeting. El-Rufai has left the APC, he's moved to SDP. Now we're seeing PDP, Peter Obi, discussing with Bauchi State Governor. We've had a lot of conversations around, trying to form a very solid opposition because right now, PDP seems very weak. Labour Party is completely gone. So let's see how it goes. 2027 is going to be an interesting election. I'll just be on the sideline watching because I'm not going to be as vested as I was in 2023. Because as long as we are not assured of transparency or we're not assured of rule of law, of justice and all of that, I don't know. I'm not supposed to be saying this because I'm supposed to be the voice of, reason, right? But if there are no assurance like that, I doubt if I want to have anything to do with, the elections in 2027. So it's not a waste of my time. All right, so, but that's, it's a good move. We need more of these kinds of coalitions so that we can have a stronger opposition to then, let's let the best man win. And yeah, we move on from that. Kaduna State, I'm biased when it comes to Kaduna because I was born there. Now, 1.37 billion under scrutiny. So the ICPC discovered 1.37 billion diverted from Kaduna's 11 billion light rail project fund. How did this happen under regulatory watch? So this is a report from Premium Times. This is the light rail scandal. The Kaduna State paid billions to an unregistered company, that's the allegation, for a project that never happened. They're asking if it is mismanagement or something worse. So many things going on. If you check the history of Governor El-Rufai during his tenure as governor in Kaduna State, there were a lot of commendations as to how he was actually very, when it comes to growth, development, and all of that, which, you know, you can attest to when you go to Kaduna. But the only bias I have with that is that when I visited Kaduna State, you know, there were just only some parts of Kaduna that were fully developed, whilst other parts of Kaduna, where the Christians live, the Kaduna South, the southern part of Kaduna, there was a huge, you know, huge clear underdevelopment. I mean, things that we left, I probably left about 20 years ago, exact same way. In fact, the roads are even in a more dilapidated state than when we left. So, and these are things that can be verified. It's not something that is hidden. Meanwhile, if you go to the northern part of Kaduna State, you will see that even inside streets, there are tarred roads everywhere. It wouldn't harm any governor to be seen to be fair when it comes to development. So when I saw this report, I said, he had a lot of commendations as to doing something good. So, but it would be nice for us to understand how 1.37 billion, you know, went to a company that did not exist. Yeah, these are all the things that we are saying, that in the midst of all of these things, there's a lot of undertone of, you know, would I say maybe some allegations around corruptions and all of that. So anybody right now that wants to go into political office, the most important thing for us to start to do is question. Let's not be carried away by all the rhetorics and all the things that they do all the time. Let us be intentional about questioning them, questioning their integrity and all of that. One thing I would say that, you know, for somebody like a Peter Obi, I keep on saying it, that if the man truly had any skeleton or dirt, the way he gave a lot of people a run for their money in 2023, would have seen that all of those things would have come out, you know, because, I mean, that would be an easy tool to discredit his person. But the fact that we've not gotten any of those things, it means that it's somebody to watch out for. And they've called him the face of opposition. So, yeah, Governor El-Rufai, we're hoping that you'll be able to respond to this, new allegations from Premium Time. I'll move on to Obasanjo. He says that the Lagos-Calabar Highway project is wasteful and is corrupt. So the former president has described the 15.6 trillion naira Lagos-Calabar coastal highway project as wasteful and corrupt. He equally slammed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration for spending 21 billion on a new office residence for the vice president, Kashim Shettima, calling it a misplaced priority and a conduit designed to embezzle public funds. The ex-leader disclosed this in Chapter 6 of his new book, Nigeria, Past and Future, where he painted the portrait and characters of chief executives at both federal and state level. He unveiled this book on his 88th birthday last week. Have we all not thought about what former President of Olusegun Obasanjo is saying? Have we not all thought about it? We've shouted, we've screamed at the top of our lungs when we're talking about the renovation of the Vice Presidential Lodge. We talked about all of these things, but it seems like every complaint and everything that we talked about is just falling on deaf ears, because there's no indication that the president and his entire administration, they are willing to even at least take a step back to see, are these people, you know, saying something that is, you know, factual and all of that. But hey, I don't know how we got to where we are as a people, where it seems like there is no conscience. We don't even have any form of remorse when it comes to, how we do things. We just do it and we don't care in the world because nobody's going to question it or nobody dares to question it. It's a sad reality that we are faced with. We know that some of these projects that, you know, the former president has mentioned, of course, it's a complete waste of resources, because those things are not a need. It's not a necessity, right? We know what the necessities are. We know what it's a nice to have, but it is not something that our economy or whatever depends on it. So it shouldn't have been a case. It should have just been a no-brainer that these are not the projects to prioritize at this point. So except if there's something underlined, which is what he's alleging about a conduit for being, you know, a channel to just embezzle money. I see why I don't see any reason why we should be having this this kinds of project at this time when we have more pressing issues on our hands. Okay, so I have a final story. I don't know if the video is ready. I just saw this video and I thought to mention it because we had talked about the Unical lady. Yeah, is it ready?
Go to politics must understand that you cannot live the truth. We have the laws of God in the Quran and the Bible. We have the Constitution of Nigeria. We have the party constitution. Go and see what is going on. The politicians are not obeying any. They are not obeying the law of God. They are not obeying the Constitution of Nigeria. They are not even obeying the laws of their own party. As a result, virtually no party has leadership. In fact, no party in Nigeria is a party. Because the meaning of party is a set of people who share common objectives. But what we have is a set of idiots who each want to have an office from the party. And idiots can never make a successful organization. Every organization to succeed, the members must aim, uphold, and commit themselves to keeping to the truth. They must uphold and commit themselves to being patient. So if you are not wanted, then you don't leave the party, you die, you fight, you kill. What for? Whatever position you hold, you are not going to be the first one. And whatever position you hold is not going to be permanent. There will be a day. And what have you seen? People who leave governor today and arrested tomorrow. Why do I even want to be? So all these people fighting for offices, and not one day are these politicians coming together to ask one question. You know the one question they don't ask? What do we do to improve the people of Nigeria? No. It is what do I do so that I become governor? Then why do you want to be a governor if you are an idiot? What is the meaning of it?
See that these days I will just be looking for videos like this to play so that they will help me say what I want to say. Remember the topic we talked about yesterday, right? Where we talked about how we got to where we are, where we have leaders that have very questionable character. So this is the one that the Emir of Jalingo, Alhaji Abbas, you know, he was just blowing hot. But is it not the reality? We don't respect, okay, let us even say, okay, Quran, we know they respect. Bible, we know they respect. Our constitution, we know they respect. Then what are we doing as a people? Like literally, this is where it seems like impunity is the order of the day. Anybody can get away with anything. Like, how did we get here? I'll keep on asking this question until we get it right with our leadership in this country. I have another final video, which is the one I talked about, the university video. So maybe we'll just play it, then I'll wrap up what's in the news.
Why don't you say that in the chair? Who said nobody should enter? You didn't hear it. Why don't you tell me you're not having a remain here? Eh? Take your number.
So this is a case of lecturer-student assault, and they said that the Federal Polytechnic Nekede have suspended the facilitator over the assault on the student. See how he shoved the guy from the ground and he fell. You could even hear from the video the guy saying that he had a headache or something. They suspended the facilitator. His name is Okoro Afo Ifeanyichukwu. Following this viral video of him physically assaulting the student, his suspension notice came today, and he's been suspended from his role as the Technical and Entrepreneurship Development Center, pending an investigation on the incident. Yeah, I'm happy that, because you see what has happened is, you see, sometimes it might seem like when things happen and probably it doesn't go the way we want it to go, it seems like, oh, it was a waste of time. It's not. I can tell you that the reason we have like swift action, okay, go get suspended first, then we investigate, it's because of all the general things that are happening. So with Natasha, when there's supposed to be an investigation, we're busy going back and forth. The girl in, what's it called, Unical, they were quick to, so I'm just saying that sometimes when issues go viral like that, it helps to just, put other people in check, to say, okay, people are watching, so they want to watch what is going to happen. So the university or the polytechnic, they've done what is right, suspend the lecturer pending when they are done with the investigation to understand why he even took this action. But there's something I want to say. Why are we always quick, especially when we are in positions of authority, to think that we are more superior than the people that are what's it called, that are answering to us or are subject to us. Why do we always feel that? Because would this lecturer have done this if he was a fellow lecturer? Would he have done it if he was a superior? Sometimes your anger can be controlled when you know who you're dealing with, right? So I don't understand why you would get to the point of even physically assaulting someone. And this is just it's just the same thing we talk about Nigeria, that people just think they can do things anyhow. What if this guy, if he was abroad, trust me, he would not have gotten up from that ground though. The moment the lecturer attempted, they will not even try it. But if the moment the lecturer attempted that guy will stay on the ground and tell you that his neck is gone. You will end up paying what you did not plan to pay for. Because we accept a lot of things in this country. That's why somebody can even do that in the first place. But I'm happy that the school has taken action, suspended the facilitator. So hopefully we'll get the end result of this. But this was totally uncalled for. All right, so I'll go on a break now. When I come back from that break, the question is weaponized poverty and weaponized ignorance. How is it impacting us as a people? Stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, the confluence of poverty and ignorance in Nigeria has created a toxic environment in which millions of citizens are denied access to basic necessities like, quality education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Now, this has led to a state of perpetual vulnerability where individuals are forced to rely on patronage networks, ethnic affiliations, and other forms of identity politics to survive. Now, the resulting social fabric is fragile, fragmented, and of course, increasingly prone to manipulation by those who seek to exploit these vulnerabilities for personal gain. So if you're looking at it from terms of historical standpoint, we're asking what are the historical and structural factors that have contributed to the perpetuation of poverty and ignorance in Nigeria. We're asking how have these factors been exploited by various actors, including politicians, ethnic leaders, religious leaders, and extremist groups, because people are taking advantage of all of these things. And we're also asking what are the consequences of weaponized poverty and ignorance for Nigeria's national security, the economic development, our social cohesion, and general well-being as Nigerians. And we're asking what strategies can be employed to address these crises, and how can Nigerians work together to build a more equitable, just, and prosperous society. Now, those are a lot of questions. I really don't have answers to them. But as I would always do on this show, my job here is to, will I say prod? Yeah, that's the word. My job is to just prick your minds and prick our minds to just intentionally put some of these questions at the front burners of our minds. So it is something that we are conscious of and we're thinking about, right? Some have attributed weaponized poverty and ignorance. They've attributed it to colonialism. They've said it that, it was the structure to which the colonial masters decided to structure it in a way that, we continue to like even though we are independent, but we continue to do what it is that they require us to do as a people. Some have attributed it to poor governance. Some have said it is corruption. Some have said it is inequality. I don't know what to attribute this weaponized poverty and ignorance to. I would just call it plain wickedness. I don't know what to even call it. Would I call it plain wickedness? Would I call it, the fact that we don't have humanity in us? Because if for anything, what I always wish with the people around me, I don't want to meet you the way I left you 2 months ago. I don't want to meet you the way I left you 3 months ago. I always intentionally am happy seeing the people that they started from nothing grow, and I actually see progress in their life's journey. So I don't understand why, why poverty, or ignorance, is now something that is so strong in the country that these political leaders, continue to take advantage of, right? I don't understand how it's any joy to them to see your people continue to suffer in poverty, to see your people continuously ignorant. I don't know how it's any joy for them. That's why I'm saying that I can't attribute it to any other thing. Maybe it is just plain wickedness, lack of humanity. You don't have a conscience. Because if you do have a conscience, you have children. Your children, the joy of a parent is to get to that point where your child begins to educate you on the things that, in fact, these days, I'm very careful when I'm talking to my sons. Because when they are, the kind of English they speak, I was not trained with that kind of English. So when they are talking, sometimes I can quietly open my dictionary on my phone just to be sure that I follow what they're saying, right? It's a joy for me that every day I sit here, I'm learning. And also as I'm learning, I'm also able to share my knowledge. And it's a joy for me to see other people around me grow, right? I have a lot of young people that I mentor. Whenever I see how much they've improved compared to the first day I met them, I'm excited. So I don't understand how you as a leader, we are supposed to be your pride and joy as a people, as a citizen. Yet, you are comfortable with us wallowing in poverty and in ignorance. So I wouldn't know what to call it. But some people have said it's colonialism. Some people have said it's poor governance. Some people said it's corruption. Some people said it's just the ability to just make sure that we are all there's inequality. I don't know what to call it. Some have also said that lack of access to quality education, healthcare, and economic opportunities is another cause, right, for weaponized poverty. Because we do not have quality access to some of these things, that is why we have these things on the rise. Some have said that manipulation of ethnic and religious differences is another, it's another cause for, what's it called, weaponized poverty, so that they continue to manipulate, us across our religious, ethnic lines and all of those lines. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But if you see that in everything that I've mentioned, the undertone for it, you would see that there is a huge, what's it called, presence of selfishness and wickedness. For as long as we are opening the news and we're seeing some kind of funny stories come out, as a leader, it should prick our conscience that how did we get to where we are? But of course, it seems like if they open our minds or our chest or whatever, that thing called a heart is not existing. Because that's the only thing I can say, that it might be the reason. Because for the life of me, I have never been in that position where I think that no, I am so superior, this person cannot rise to my level. I've seen people that I literally was the one sustaining them. They've grown and they've risen way, way, way above me. And I'm always excited about those things. But I don't understand, sometimes they even tell us that play down your success when you're around some big men. Because when you are there and you are, there was a story of a tailor that, he bought a car. And he was so excited, he was telling the person that he patronizes him, oh, I bought a car. That was the end of the business transaction with that person. So what it means is that I want you to be at the level that I have kept you. You can't succeed beyond that level. And that is what we see play out. Because if not, why would you not educate your people? Why would you not educate your people? Because once they are educated and ignorance disappears, it means that some of the things that you get away with as a leader, you will not get away with it anymore. Because now the person that was a child yesterday has grown wiser. And the person understands that some of the things that you and your actions are wrong and can confront you and can question those actions. So we'd say that what are some of the consequences of weaponized poverty? Of course, it will be the proliferation of violent extremism. So things like what we are seeing. You see that it's not like these people, they lack knowledge that these things are the real issues that is causing the problem in our country. This violence, extremism that we're seeing around Boko Haram, kidnapping, banditry, robbery, and all of those, all this criminal activity that is going on, and some of this extreme violence that we are seeing is a direct correlation of ignorance and poverty. That's a direct consequence. Because there is nobody that knows better that will say, I want to intentionally go and join banditry. I want to go and join, vandalism, to go and be vandalizing public properties or whatever. Or I'll go and join kidnappers' crew. Nobody in their right senses will do that. It's either there's something driving you, which is probably poverty, or ignorance. So when we say we have some of these challenges that we are faced with in the country, the consequences of weaponized poverty and weaponized ignorance is a direct, is a direct reflection, some of these challenges that we face in our country. Some of the consequence, again, will be erosion of trust in public institutions. See what we are saying. People are afraid to go to the judiciary. People are afraid to go to EFCC. People are afraid to go to ICPC. People are afraid to go to, literally, that's why sometimes you see people want to take laws in their hands. Because there's complete erosion of trust in the public institutions. Look at what INEC did. I really do not care the outcome of the 2023 general election. What I care about was the process to which, the emergence of the current leaders that we have. What would it have taken you to just stick to what you had promised? Transparency, right? Electronic transmission of results. Then if the result turned out to be exactly how it is, then nobody would distrust you. Everybody would accept it and say, but there is still that big question of whether INEC is to be trusted, whether our public institutions are to be trusted. Why? Because it seems like anything goes. Impunity is just the order of the day. The high level of corruption that we see, even inefficiency, intentionally, some things do not work in this country, not because they do not have the capacity to work. It's because if it is working, there will not be room for corruption. So lack of accountability. These are all consequences, direct consequences of, weaponized poverty and weaponized, ignorance. Now, one of the other consequences that we would mention would be social cohesion and national unity undermined. See where we are. We can't even relate as ourselves. You just need to go on social media. The amount of insults. I said it the other day that I did a video of how pained I was that Bauchi State Governor shut down schools because of the Ramadan. You need to have seen the kinds of insults that I received. Who are you to say this? Who are you to? I'm a Nigerian, and it is in my right, because I understand the power of education and how it can impact the life of a child, of any human being at all. But you see, this unity, it's completely zero. Everybody is now my region, my region, my region, and that should not be. Are we talking about economic stagnation and poverty that is continuously perpetuated as a direct consequence of what? Weaponized ignorance and weaponized poverty. Our economy is not moving. Some will tell you, okay, CBN is trying, they are doing some things and all of that. But for the amount of, you see, when I'm comparing Nigeria for the potential that it has. For what we have as a people, do you understand what I'm saying? For what we have, in terms of the resources that we have access to, and the things that we have access to, both human resource and what's it called, and natural resource, mineral resource, and all of those things. For what we have, we're not doing well economically. Let's go on a short break, right? When we come back from that break, I want to share more insight, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think is happening? What are the impacts of weaponized poverty and ignorance in your own thought? Stay with me. My God, thanks for staying tuned. Now, if you just tuned in, right, we're discussing Nigeria and the impact of weaponized poverty and ignorance. Please, let me hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp. You can also call the WhatsApp line. It's 081-803-8663. Our phone lines are also now open. The numbers to call are 07025007749 or 07014242420. I would really love to hear what you have to say about this. I honestly, when I was coming into the year 2025, maybe because it's the year I'm turning 40, but when I was coming into this year, I told myself that I can't be doing things business as usual anymore, right? And I cannot be afraid to say what needs to be said. It's very important for us to understand what are we doing as a people? Why are we here, right? Because they've said this thing several times to me. I've read it in different kinds of, write-ups, where they say that insanity is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different. This is what we've done for years. These are the things that we've done for years. So why are we not intentional about changing things in this country, right? Somebody somewhere or some group of people somewhere will continue to benefit as long as poverty and ignorance continues to, remain in our society and is prevalent. When the House of Rep member Shehu, when he was proposing a bill for pornography, if at all there's a pandemic, poverty is a pandemic in this country. If there's a pandemic, right, ignorance is a pandemic in this country. Do you see where our priorities lie as a people? You are not focused on the things that would change status quo. You're not focused on the things that would transform the people. Nigerians are the most easy people to govern. We are the most easy people to govern. Nigerians just need to be sure that, okay, yes, there's food, there's water, there's light, there's transport, there's everything. They will find their way. They will do things. They don't have to. Nigerians are not those kind of overly whatever people. Yes, we want the good life. We want to do all of those things. But we don't do all those extras. So as Nigerians navigate the complexities of the 21st century, the consequences of weaponized poverty and ignorance, of course, are manifesting in various ways. Of course, as I said before, the proliferation of violence, extremism, to the erosion of trust in public institutions, the effects of this crisis are far-reaching and devastating. It is also very imperative that we confront this challenge, as I've said, head-on, through a nuanced understanding of its root causes. Let's not play to the gallery. We know where our problem lies, its manifestations and its implications for national development. Let's face it head-on. Let's stop being tools in the hands of these politicians. When they come to us, let's be very clear on what it is that our problems are. So some of the effects on national development, right, which is what we've seen very, very heavily between the space of, I think, 2022 to till now, a very strong, exodus of our talents, right? Huge brain drain happening everywhere in all the sectors. Doctors, nurses, you know, engineers, different kinds of talents are leaving Nigeria in droves. I remember it was the past minister. Was it not, what's that his name? Was it Chris Ngige? I think that's his name. They were saying that if they go now, there will be more people. It's a shame for us to make those kind of statements. Because if you go across the world, right, Nigerians that have left Nigeria, they are doing exceptionally well. They are the top high flyers in their organizations. They're the ones doing all the amazing stuff. But here in Nigeria, they're unable to survive. So instead of you as a leader to hide your head in shame and say, why? Why can't these great talents that we see when they go outside of the country, why can't they do that here? You're saying if they go, no problem, more will come. What we have suffered in terms of brain drain and talent flight, we can't even quantify it. And that is a direct effect that we're having on our national development as a result of this weaponized poverty and ignorance. Our economy is also suffering because we have reduced economic competitiveness. We can't compete with all global economies in the world. And that does not mean that Nigeria does not have the capacity to compete. We do. Because when you put us side by side, which country was it? I was watching a video. They don't even get, they don't have anything. Arable land, nothing. Yet, the kind of things that they are producing from that country. No, I think was it Korea or something? They were saying that they didn't have, I was watching a video. They didn't have anything. So what the people said, that they said, since we don't have all of these things, let us invest in the one we have. We have brain. So technology, they went all out. Sometimes I keep wondering that, is it maybe because we have too much in excess? That is why we're lacking behind. Maybe if we had all these things that we're having, I think it was Korea, because he was talking about how they had volcanoes, they had tsunami, they had earthquake, they had everything. So he was comparing the everything they've had to go through and Nigeria. Indirectly telling us we have no business being plain, what's it called, third world country. Because if it is for every parameter to succeed, we have it as a people. Increased dependence on foreign aid is a direct correlation of what weaponized poverty and ignorance has cost us. So now, instead of us to think through to say, okay, what are the things that we can do as a people to be able to make ourselves self-sufficient, develop ourselves, build ourselves, and become very strong in our economy, we're always depending on one aid, something to give us. So that's why they will tell us something that if you do not put this law in place, I would cut off foreign aid. We see us running kitty kata. We now have leaders that are not, they don't care about what we think as a people. They care more about how the international community see them so that they don't cut off those aids. We have decreased investor confidence. Investors are running away, right? Some are coming, some are running away. People are not so sure whether Nigeria is the right economy to invest in. Would I also still emphasize increased crime and continuous underdevelopment that we see? The list is, of course, is endless. And this is just on our nation. We have a very blessed country in our hands. Our country is not one of those countries that when you look at, you can just, it's a pushover. No. Nigeria is such a blessed country. And sometimes that's why when I talk about these things, it breaks my heart. Because I know that in my little corner, with the little resources that I have, I know how much I've impacted people. So I can now imagine if only we had the heart, the kind of heart that a leader, that is required for leadership in Nigeria, how far we would have gone as a country. So in an attempt to find solutions to some of these challenges that we're talking about, we have to be very clear that one of our solutions and recommendation would be that we have to invest in education, quality education and quality healthcare. We have to invest. Because for as long as you continue to keep your people ignorant, in the end, we're not moving forward, we're not moving backward as a people. We must invest in education. As a people, we must invest in education. We must also promote economic empowerment and job creation. This is one of the biggest things. One of the challenges that I've seen that we have a huge number of young people that are unemployed, and most of them are unemployable. So it's two things. They are unemployed, and most of them are unemployable. I think it was Kule Afolayan that he put out a post and he was frustrated about, what's it called, how the industry, a lot of incompetence and all of that. That is what is going on. So economic empowerment and job creation is beyond you buying keke napep and a wheelbarrow and sewing machine. Those are not the kind of empowerment that we require. If we need to change anything, it means that we need to upskill. There has to be a way to upskill the young people that we have. So when we upskill them and retool them, then we are able to give them something that can be sustained. So we don't have to go back again. Year in, year out, you see different kinds of empowerment programs. They are buying keke marwa, buying sewing machine, buying grinding machine, buying motorcycle, and all of that. Is that what we call empowerment? So real empowerment in its sense, it's holistic. You first of all need to upskill the talent to ensure that they are able to handle it. Then you can now empower them by creating the jobs where they are able to thrive and they are sustained. Then one of the biggest solutions, we have to have strengthened institutions that can ensure that we can then call for accountability. We must strengthen our electoral institutions, our judiciary. We must strengthen every part of every fabric of our our nation. Our law enforcement agencies. We must strengthen our the crime control unit, drug law enforcement agencies, different institutions. There has to be some level of strength that they would have, that they stand strong regardless of any government. The way we should run Nigeria is that, be it, I think it was a statement that one of the Ghanaian president had made, that even if it is devil that is coming to Ghana to become president, the devil has no choice other than to fall in line with the structure that is already in place. That is what we need. Not that for every time a government comes in, we start to change things, different policies start to change. No. It should be soldier go, soldier come, barrack remains. Our institution should be that barrack that is strengthened, that regardless of what happens, the executives and all of those people that come in, they come and they go. But there's an institution that is strong, that is keeping them accountable and keeping them on their toes. We have a National Assembly that is just going back and forth. That's supposed to be a direct checkmate for our executives. Is it our judiciary we'll talk about? A lot of question mark around our judicial processes. A lot of allegations being thrown at them as to how politicians use them to get judgment in their favor. So institutions must be strengthened. We must also address this issue around our ethnic and religious biases. We must address it. Enough of this game of where you're coming from. We've said it several times, this issue of state of origin. Take it off any form. What information is that for me? Our religious tensions, we must be intentional about fighting them off as a people. For as long as we continue to have ethnic and religious divides, we will not go anywhere. Because that is continuously going to be a tool in the hands of politicians. They start to play the ethnic card, they start to play the religious biases. For the first time in our history in Nigeria, we have a Muslim. what's it called? We had a Muslim ticket. The heavens did not fall. So I just want to say that tomorrow, when there's a Christian ticket too, the heavens should not fall. We should be tolerant of each other in terms of our religion or our ethnic backgrounds, wherever we come from. For as long as that card remains, politicians will continue to use it to their favor. And in the end, who is suffering? It is us, the Nigerians. We can't keep throwing blames at politicians. Politicians will start to behave when Nigerians are ready to wake up. We must also encourage critical thinking and media literacy, which is what I'm doing here, or my attempt, right? Let's not just be quick to jump into things. Let's think critically. What are the issues? How do we address this issue? What are the root causes? Let's ask, why is this happening? We don't ask questions. They just say jump, you say how high. No, why do I have to jump? Of what benefit is it jumping to me? So if I jump now, who is going to be affected? We probe, ask questions. Then our media houses should no longer be just trying to play to the gallery and just sharing the, sharing the brown envelopes up and down and report what your leaders have asked you to report. No. There should be a lot of groundwork. Media should be a tool to be able to help to bridge some of these gaps. And I'd like to add that we must create a universal, or I'll call it a national vision. We have to. What is the Nigerian dream? What is the Nigerian vision? Are these things too much for me to be asking? And are we even ready as a people to fight these politicians? Because whether we like it or not, ignorance and poverty have become a weapon in their hands. And for as long as they have it, they will continue to use it. In our little way, how are we empowering people and giving them employment and taking them out of that desperation? Because when somebody does not have any money, when you tell the person to jump, the person would ask you, how high? No questions asked. So Nigerians must demand more from our leaders. Collective action is very necessary to some of these crises that we face. We can't do it in silos. We can't do it individually. We have to come together. And you see how the circle is very vicious. If we need to solve this problem, we need to come together as one. And they know that the only way we can come together as one if we were able to dump our religious, ethnic biases and some of the biases that we carry. So why would they let you? No. It means that for as long as there are those divisions and those lines, right, they will continue to have, we can never get to that point where we have a collective action. We cannot come together. So you see that some of the problems that we have in Nigeria, even the weaponized poverty and weaponized ignorance, as much as it was created by our political leaders, it is not them that will kill it. It is us that will kill it. And we have to be intentional about starting to do these things in our little way. There are so many people that work for me, I don't know where they come from. I've not asked, oh, what state are you from? Where are you from? Because that's not the subject of conversation. What job can you do? Have you done it before? Let me see what you can do. If there's a green light in the competence, this thing, you are hired. What thing concern me, concern where you come from? As if that would change anything. So that collective action is very important. We must take down all those biases that have kept us apart all these years, that have not made us to come together and speak one voice. We must also prioritize education, healthcare, and economic empowerment in this country. So once a budget is released and they are saying they are giving 5%, when the recommended percentage allocated for education should be 15%, we should question it. We should write a petition. We should ask the president that, no, this budget cannot be passed because this budget is not reflecting that you have education as priority. It's time for us to build a more equitable, just, and prosperous Nigeria. And of course, the impact of weaponized poverty and ignorance on Nigeria is really devastating. It has led to perpetuation of cycles of violence, as I mentioned earlier, erosion of trust in institutions, and stagnation of the economy rather. So it might seem like we've gone too neck deep in this, but it is not too late to reverse this trend. It is not too late to build a more prosperous and equitable Nigeria. It's not. Nigerians as a people, we just need to wake up. We just all need to wake up. We must be intentional about strengthening our institutions. We must ensure that we start to call these people out and demand accountability. We must promote inclusive dialogues to address some of these ethnic and religious tensions and biases that we have. So one of the things that I see that is happening whenever politicians want to, have to, Nigeria prosperous for all of us. The time for change is now, and the time for a better Nigeria is now. I don't know what else to say, but this is the weekend. It's Friday. I want to go home. I want to rest. I've had a great conversation. Thank you for listening. I hope you share the link to someone that needs to hear this. And more importantly, let's be intentional about taking actions. If you missed our quote for today, it says, as long as poverty, injustice, and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. And this was from Nelson Mandela. I'll see you guys on Monday at 8 p.m. Enjoy your evening and, of course, your weekend.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.